Right then, so welcome to week number 6 of the program. So today what we're going to be doing is going through sleep, and it's one of those things where we know it's important, but we probably don't pay enough attention to making it better. And today I just want to go through kind of what we can do, really just go through the importance and why it really does matter. So again, go through the kind of the science of it really. Talk a little bit about cortisol, so the stress hormone, how we're going to fix the consistency, and also how it fits into the habits that we should have already implemented. So I think the big thing when it comes to fat loss, I say this every week, is controlling appetite often, or controlling what you're eating. And we want to do whatever we can in our power to make sure this is as easy as possible. And the two hormones that can control this are ghrelin and leptin. So basically kind of when you cut calories or you're not eating, ghrelin goes up and it tells you need to eat more. And what can happen when you don't sleep enough is that this can actually jump up by itself. So we can see like a really significant increase in ghrelin, meaning the next day you're actually hungry, so you're going to want to eat more. So the best way to make sure that doesn't happen is one, not to cut calories too low, but also to sleep correctly. The other thing as well is kind of leptin, which is going to tell you when you've eaten enough. And when you sleep deprived, this can also come down. This conversely can come down, making you not as full. So you end up, one, being hungry, and two, not getting as full quickly. So you eat more and we put on weight. So this is something we really want to change. The other thing as well is that sleep actually does impact cortisol. Now, cortisol isn't, to be honest, with this slide, I've got to be a bit careful. I think it's a bit of scaremonger here, but cortisol is fine. It's used to kind of get us up, and it's that it helps with a lot of things. However, what can happen, we're having this constant cortisol increase. We do know there's an association with that and fat around the tummy, so visceral fat. So what we're seeing is that if we're not sleeping properly, cortisol can rise. This can lead to increasing hunger, and this can lead to the visceral fat storage. So when you've got this double-edged sword of kind of a bit more stress, less sleep, less energy, twinned with more receptive to put on more fat around the middle, and you're more receptive to eating more and being hungry, you can really put yourself in this quite poor position. And this is the reason why it's just so important to really start thinking, can you start improving your sleep? So what are we actually trying to do? So the target is 7 hours. Now again, with all the gadgets and things like that, we can look at kind of REM sleep, we can look at deep sleep, but 7 hours is kind of a fairly good guideline that we should be working towards. Understandably, it's not going to be perfect all the time because of life and work, family. However, if we can try and get near to that point, or at least that 6, we do see that it improves, say, like not just fat loss, but how you feel the next day, performance as well, and also reduces the risk of injury. So the way that we want to try and do really is, this way shift work is having quite hard, is really kind of follow that circadian rhythm. Really, we're giving this signal that knowing what time you're going to bed and also kind of what time when you're getting up. And we see this, how by doing this, it is going to improve. So have that similar bedtime, set your alarm in the morning, even at the weekends, give yourself a bit of leeway, but try and keep it fairly consistent. And the other thing we can do as well is just giving yourself that light exposure. So for those of us with dogs, it makes it quite easy. We can get out and do a bit of walking, but something like that can actually help with this circadian rhythm, to help with kind of melatonin, and those melatonin levels, like with the supplements we talk about later, can actually help with the depth of sleep later on. So think about it, same time bed, same bedtime, same waking up time. Most people kind of look at this, so this is just kind of a host of supplements which I've kind of pulled together, and if anyone wants the studies for this, I've got that as well. And there's not that many that are going to make a huge difference, but the two that really are going to help is melatonin. However, this is prescription only unless you're in the US, so go to the doctor for that. And we definitely see an improvement in kind of sleep with this. Magnesium as well, so glycinate, so another one that we know that 200 to 400 grams before bed can definitely help with sleep as well. So look at that. I think with the ashwagandha and L-theanine as well, there is a little bit of literature how it's a bit equivocal. So there's some that says it's okay, some says it's not the best. So I think this as well is just something that you might want to practice if you wanted to, but again, check with your doctor first, because it is meant to just help relax, okay? Helps with just just kind of like calm down with the ashwagandha system to look at. The valerian root and the zinc, I think I don't think I'd chase that. I think if you're really having a problem, potentially, but I wouldn't really go for that initially. I think vitamin D we should be having anyway. Magnesium and the magnesium really in the ashwagandha, but other than that, I probably wouldn't look for anything else. The other things we can actually kind of practical things we can do too. So the first thing is the wake time we spoke about. So kind of have that alarm, set it every day. Screen time as well. I'm doing this quite late, but stop the blue light, okay? So stop your phone scrolling, the doom scrolling, phones in bed, laptops before bed as well, about 60 minutes. Just helps the body just start kind of relaxing. I find reading really helps with that. Journaling as well can help. And the obvious ones as well, bedrooms cool and dark, blackout blinds as well, that can make a bit of a difference. Just get you set that kind of room, that area that you want to sleep. Alcohol as well, we know, for those who have worn any Whoop bands or done any kind of the Aura rings, you'll see that if you have alcohol, your sleep really just tank. And caffeine as well. I think with the half-life being about 6 to 7 hours, you're still going to have caffeine in about later on. So everyone is different here, so you might find that you can sleep a bit better, but we want to try and get in that habit of cutting it early. And looking at the supplements ahead as well, what I can just do is, if you want to screenshot that, we can start looking at some supplementation for last. So I think that's everything really. So in terms of what we want to try and do, start thinking about that bedtime, okay? Start thinking about the waking up time. Think about those supplements as well, but continue with the habits we've been working on previously. So the calories, the protein, the water, the steps, the training. When we start getting these together, you'll start seeing these 6 things now. We're going to start seeing some good results or consistent results that are going to bed in and lead to that kind of long-term change. So crack on. This is actually week 6. Week 5 was fruit veg, bit of a typo there. As ever, let me know if any questions, kind of crack on, and looking forward to see some more results.